Welcome back to another episode of All the Mod 7. Last time we left off, we were working on this setup over here to get a little bit of ore smelting done with a quarry, or a builder quarry, or whatever you want to call it. As you can see, this thing is still going. It still hasn't processed all of the ores since the last time that we came in here, and I have been running my game just so this could process and get a little bit more materials here and there. I've also done some kind of tidying up and a couple of things to fix some things, and we can show you guys that. But before we jump in and start looking at everything, I just want to say thank you guys so much again, and if you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like these videos, hit that button, and let's get started. So first off, I didn't set this up properly to actually connect to make power. I learned that. I also replaced it with blocks because they do work apparently, and it just didn't connect, but that's okay. This right here is the little output right here is actually supposed to be for power. I guess this works. I thought it was this red dot because red means power to me, but nope, it didn't connect. Now it's connected. It's connected right here in the front, and it actually has power. And you're wondering, how did you know that you ran out of power and wasn't connected? Well, this stuff actually pulled so much power, and I even had to set up more machines over here just to keep up with the oxygen rate for this. I upgraded these guys to the ultimate purifying factory, and the ultimate, like we have the ultimate of each of these, which by the way is incredibly annoying to make. And that led me to decide that we are going to make an automated version of all of the materials that you will need for MEKANISM, like that compressed obsidian and stuff that you need for these control circuits, like the atomic alloy needs the obsidian, the refined obsidian. We made this before. I showed you how to do it, but we're going to set it up to where it's automated. And I also learned that I don't have a good way of making obsidian. So there are obsidian seeds, and we probably actually want to get those started because I really just don't have much obsidian. Farming in the end is not the most fun thing. Before I make that seed, I know I'm ADHD and I'm going everywhere. I do want to say I made the creative crafter. This thing is actually so cool, and it's not even that expensive. Hold on, I know it says creative, but it's actually not even that expensive. You need the netherite crafter, you need 4 blocks of netherite, you need 2 withering processors, and 2 unobtainium ingots. This is actually not that hard to make. Like the withering processor just takes nether stars, so that's really nothing because we already have that. The netherite crafter just takes, and everything below this, so diamond and gold, takes these neural processors, which those are really just simple, just obsidian, some nether quartz, and some raw processors. It's actually really simple to make. As long as you have the unobtainium and some wither stars, this is not bad to make at all. It's got 108 slots. It is 60,000 blocks per tick, and it consumes 0 RF. Which is really dope. I've made a bunch of different recipes in here and getting us prepped to make some steel stuff and all that good stuff from MEKANISM. So this, if you can make it, it's worth it, do it, it's cool. I also tried to automate this smithing table because I really wanted to make the netherite upgrades and stuff right here. So this pattern right here, I really wanted to make this, and you need the upgrade, you need this, and it did, basically the crafters don't work, which is big sad. This right here, well, actually, yeah, it's this pattern right here. So it doesn't work because you have to put it in a smithing table. And these are my, oh man, it didn't work kind of patterns, except for that one. That one worked. So let's make that obsidian seed real quick. So just so you guys know, I ran out of storage space last time. I farmed out a bunch of stuff, actually made a couple more seeds, got us a huge disc, which apparently these things get huge. Like this is a 1,024,000, so 1,024,000 disc, and they actually get really, really big, and they're actually not that hard to make either. I started realizing that my materials and stuff that I had was taking up too much, so I started blockiforming some of this stuff, and then I realized I had way too much inferium, which actually led me to make this master infusion crystal. Once you just need supremium, and supremium is just basically inferium all the way up. Oh man, I'm running dangerously low on obsidian. I also put sugarcane over here because we're going to need paper, but I think I'm actually going to replace it. I don't remember which one. We got nether quartz seeds so I can actually make some nether quartz stuff. Okay, we're going to replace the sugarcane with these obsidian seeds because we're going to need them. And then we're going to do the same thing with the dirt seeds because I don't need them right now. And I made a little chest out here just because I keep replacing seeds and stuff. See? Okay, so now we have some obsidian essence. I also kind of want to auto-craft these as well. And that's kind of what I want to focus on today, is kind of setting us up for auto-crafting and everything. We're going to need a lot of materials, and I don't know if we've got, what, 2 obsidian seeds going? That should be kind of fast to keep up with this. I do want to show you guys bees real quick, because I know we're going to need a ton of steel, and while we can make a bunch of these, oh, it's already working, sweet. We've already got 4 of these bad boys. I need to set that up. I've also made some sulfur bees. These bees are actually a pain to make, because we're going to need sulfur later on down the road for our mechanism, which is what I'm kind of building into. I want to make the fission reactor because we need several components for the All the Mod Star. But I have these baby upgrades in here, and hopefully that's enough. As soon as somebody gets in here, there's also some in here. So we'll check back on this later, and I'm actually just going to leave it so I can show you guys how crazy these bees get. Because I realized before when I was doing bees that I never showed you guys how it works. But these steel bees are actually very easy to make. There's like a billion of them though. So if we take a look at the steel bee, it's literally just a coal bee plus an iron bee. The coal bee I also had to have because the coal bee is what made the sulfur bee, because that's one of the things that you need too. Make these two, trust me. If you're getting into, especially if you're getting into mechanism, the sulfur bee is going to save you. Reason being is because there's actually no way to reliably make sulfur except for either with the bee or by making sulfur dust by using a chemical injection chamber with gunpowder. So if you can make gunpowder and salt, yeah, go for it. It'll do it. I think that salt will do it, but I skipped that instead. I'm just going to make a sulfur bee. Hopefully this thing reproduces enough till we can have some babies, but I'm going to leave this bee. I just made a bee joke and I didn't even mean to. So using this essence, I'm going to go ahead and make us a couple of, well, at least a stack of obsidian because we're going to need that later. So I have a bunch of stuff in my inventory here. Oh, I never set that steel come up. Let me go do that. So jumping back in, what the whole plan of this was for us to actually get into making a bunch of the things that we need and automating a bunch of the things that we need for mechanism. You're like, why do you have 5 metallurgic infusers and an enrichment chamber? I'm going to show you guys exactly why, but if we hit U on one of these things, you can actually take a look at all the different things that it can make. So what I've done is I said, okay, I'm going to need to make these things and I'm going to need to automate this. So I have already decided that I'm going to make 1 metallurgic infuser for each of the things that I would need to use to make certain things. Like diamond would take an infused alloy and turn it into a reinforced alloy. If I could speak, I keep calling it an alloy. Up here, you can see that I've already got this set up and I have these saved recipes. So that way I can look to see exactly what I can do with each of them, because then I'm going to make a crafter, and hopefully this crafter thing works because I'm really excited about it, and the automation stuff that I'm learning is making me really excited. But this makes it where we can make like obsidian dust easier. We can make the infused alloys. We can make the basic control circuit, stuff like that. And then the enriched carbon is mostly for like steel. Oh, I didn't even know you could do iron blocks to steel blocks. What is a whole? I've also learned how to regulate and set up crafting updates in crafters. So we got that going for us, and there's some cool things we'll do with it. So we're going to head down to the factory, which I've also set up a little place right here for me to teleport because the elevator takes too long. We're going to set this up on this right side over here. Just something simple, okay? This thing is still backed up. Like, still. There's so much copper and stuff. There's 221,000 Woo! It's going to be here for a while. It's going to be here for a very long while. It's not even running. Like, it finished, like, a couple of minutes after I finished that episode. Oh, I gotta focus, bro. I'm out of it. I'm not exactly sure how I want to set this up, so I'm going to ask you guys to be patient with me because I'm going to probably mess it up and then mess it up again and then mess it up again. Okay, so if you could just bear with me and we're going to set this up, okay? I promise it's going to happen. So what I want to do, I know what I didn't make, but what I want to do is I want to tap into our network, just something like this. And what I want to do is I want to set it up to where we have a metallurgic infuser to do each of the crafts that we need. If I come over here and we go, let's give a space back like this, and let's go 5 across like this. So boop, and then boop. So how I want to set this up is I want the metallurgic infuser to be auto crafting some things. So what's going to happen is I'll make some recipes for this, So let's say this one is going to be my redstone infuser, right? So we will have redstone, we'll have diamond, we'll have coal, we'll have obsidian, and we will have, do I even need 5 now that I think about it? So yeah, I don't even need 5. Okay, I only need 4. I'll take it for now. That's fine. We'll just keep this one for funsies. So this one could be our redstone, right? So we can just take, let me grab some redstone and stuff out. We'll compress these and we'll get these into enriched stuff later. And I'll for now just set these up. So we have redstone, we have coal, we have obsidian, which we're going to have to actually make some enriched obsidian, which is why I set the other thing. Oh wait, is there a refined obsidian comb? I forgot that there was a bee for this. What does it take to make this bee? Obsidian bee plus an osmium bee? I don't have either of those, so that would just take forever. So this is going to have to work. And then we have diamonds, which of course we're going to have to make enriched diamonds for. So redstone can go in here, and we can do coal in here for the time being. We're going to upgrade these. I actually have already made the tier installers. These things are so cool. I didn't even know you could use this on a I didn't even know you could use those on a metallurgic infuser. So like if I shift click on these, it actually turns into a factory block, which is pretty cool. And yeah, and this makes it where it's a basic infusing factory, and we can turn on auto sort for each of these. Question now is if I can actually set this up to where it will work properly. I have no clue. I'm going to be honest with you. I've got no idea. We also have an enrichment chamber, so that way I can pipe in things that like specific things that say I need. So if I want to make the enriched obsidian, which I will need to make from diamonds and obsidian dust, then I will need this enrichment chamber. And this will make it where these things will kind of stay full and I won't have to worry about it. Because like I said, diamonds don't automatically go in here. It just doesn't work like that. I don't like that there's 4 of these like this, but we're going to set this up. We're going to set this up first to just do one at a time to see how we can get this working. So first up, we are going to need to connect these cables like this. I'm going to make it neat, so I'm going to break that one. And we're going to go like this. Okay, so what this does now is this makes it where once we link this card, we're going to have a wall of these transmitters. I'm not going to lie. Now these all should have power. Okay, so the fact that it says basic infusing factory kind of gives me a little bit of hope that this is going to work. So what we're going to need is importers on top of these. So these guys right here. So we'll need an importer here and an importer here. I think I don't even have to worry about these working like that. Like I don't think I have to worry about this. These should automatically import what we want to import from it, right? We will need a way to export into these. That is something important. So we will need a way to say, hey, put redstone in these or keep redstone filled with these. So what I might end up having to do is pull off to the side here and go under. So that way I can put exporters at the bottom to say which one goes to each one. So I'll fill these pipes in, or fill these in a little bit later. We're going to break these out just so I can show you what I'm doing here. So this one, I want to make sure that it only pulls redstone out. So I'm going to put redstone in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing here with coal, so that way it says carbon here. So as we see, it's filling up. And since we have infinite redstone and infinite carbon, I'm not really too worried about it. We could actually make it where it's pulling blocks to make it a little bit faster. All right, so now this is filling up with what we want it to with this. It's not going into any of these ports. And we can always make sure how that works. If we go over here and we look energy, infuse types, you can actually see, we want to make sure that we turn off all the outputs here. We want to make sure that there's nothing outputting to the left or right in any of this. This is items. We want to make sure this is turned off. Same thing for here. Pro tip, you could just right click until it's off. Now, we need to make the crafting recipes for it. So we can take and grab like steel. So steel dust in a metallurgic infuser is like this. So that just needs charcoal or whatever. If we click here, and click create, here is our pattern. Let's do the same thing, but let's make it where we do enriched iron because we're gonna need this one as well. We're also gonna want the other redstone one, which is the basic control circuit. I'm gonna try and make this one and see how it works. Hopefully this works, because if not, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to automate it. And now let's see if this works. We can put in the pattern here for redstone. So this is our specific redstone stuff. And then let's see if this will craft it for us. So we have redstone in here, it's filled up and everything. We don't have any power, so it's not like it's gonna matter. Now, to save us some face here, we're gonna need to use modular routers just like we did before. So I'm gonna grab myself a modular router, and we're gonna need to make those same upgrades just like we did last time, which is the energy distributor module and the energy output module. We're also going to need some energy upgrades. Okay, so now we have the energy distributor module. We can put the energy upgrades in here, and then we're also gonna grab a point so that way we can put power to this. Now it's filled with power. We can come over here with the energy distributor module shift click these and stick it back in here, and it will start shooting power to each of these. So now we can actually test to see if we can make this. So if I go over here and we type in alloy, we should be able to control shift click and then see if we can make these. So it takes 64 iron and 60 to get 64 infused alloys. So if I hit that, let's see if it makes it. It will make it, but we had to make sure in the back, we want to make sure that the items config here on the infusing factories have an input on the back side. So we're going to make sure that we do that with each of these. And then to make sure that it outputs properly, we're going to put the output on the top. That way it pulls these out. And there we have it. We should have more alloys coming in. There it is. Sweet. So now we have automated this. The problem is now that this is pretty slow. But I've already went ahead and made a bunch of energy upgrades because I knew we would need them. So let's go ahead and upgrade these. And it looks like, just like I thought it probably would, we're going to need a speed upgrade. I think we just put a stack upgrade in here and a couple of speed upgrades in here. I think we probably just need to put one in each. And this one's going to have more going. So if we put a stack upgrade in here and one speed upgrade, and then each of these we put a speed upgrade, I think it should be fast enough. We'll probably need to make some more stack upgrades for them. This is our carbon one right here. So in this crafter, I'm going to put the enriched iron to steel dust. We're going to put the iron ingot right here into enriched iron. And then let's go ahead and add the other one in here too for the steel dust. So what this will do is now I should be able to request steel dust right here. So if I control shift click and click start, it will say to craft and then available and then steel dust. So if I click start, let's see what happens. So here we have some enriched iron going through and then the iron going through as well to turn into enriched iron, and then it comes out here. So we're probably going to need to upgrade this from a basic tier to a higher tier, but that's kind of what we're doing here, which is pretty nice. So this one's already done. So let's see if we can craft this right here, these basic control circuits, and hit start. That should automatically work, which it did. And now we have these coming through. We'll have to upgrade these even more. And this one is actually keeping up. I only made 18 energy upgrades, and it's actually keeping up with the power so far, which is pretty nice. Now, I will have to automate some way to smelt that steel dust. Once it's in my inventory right now, or once it's over here inside of my grid, I will have to automate a way to get that steel ingot made. Which, again, I've already actually done the steel. I have a steel B, but it's going to take a while for them to kind of get it together. So next up, let's try and go for diamond here. We've got enriched diamond is what I want to make with it. So that way we can make good use of our diamonds here. So we need an enrichment chamber, which we have one, and this will make us enriched diamond. We're going to need another crafter, which I guess this works out. We can take this crafter that I have right here, and we'll place it just like this. And then we'll take our enrichment chamber here, place it down. We'll pipe it over just like that. And then we'll want to make the enrichment chamber for each one of these. We want to make the recipe in the enrichment chamber for each one of these enriched pieces here. And then we'll have a way to distribute this out through the bottom here. So let's go ahead and make those recipes for each of these. So we have enriched obsidian, if I can speak, enriched diamond, enriched redstone, and enriched carbon. Now this is interesting. We could also make ourselves a recipe for this one too. So that way we can just shove this one in this crafter right here, and then I can just request it. I'm not going to request it just yet because I don't have a whole lot. Well, there's 64 of them, so that works. All right, now that we're back down here, I think we have to upgrade this one first with the basic tier installer here, and then we have to do this one, and we could do all 4 of these as well. And now these should be a little bit faster. They do hold a lot more, and they're going to need some more upgrades for this one. And to make sure that we power this, we're going to take our energy distributor module here and hit this, and then push this back in here, and it should start shooting some power over here, which it did. I don't know if this is actually going to keep up with the power, so we'll probably have to upgrade the energy upgrades and get a good stack of those going. But let's go ahead and shove these patterns into the crafter here, and that way we can start requesting what we need. We'll need another importer. Do I have one? I think I do have one left. Okay, sweet. Okay, now we got a stack upgrade and a speed upgrade in each one of these. Now we can start getting this going and pumping it across the bottom. So I just realized, I don't even have to do that, because I could just set these guys right here, these importers or these exporters, to have the enriched stuff to shove them back in. So with this, let's see, let's do diamond first. So an enriched diamond is just diamond into an enrichment chamber. So if we go over here and we type in, we can just go to craftables right now. So sort this to craft, and then we have our enriched diamond here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get 64 of these going. So it should shoot this in here. Oh, nope, we got to set up the config. Turn on auto sort, and here we go. We have some enriched diamonds coming through, which is great. And then over here, I can actually take one of those and snag one of those enriched diamonds up. And then in here, this will be our enriched diamonds. This will put the enriched diamonds in here, start making this to where we can make anything with enriched diamonds. So any of our recipes that we need enriched diamonds for, we can take a look right there. So let's go ahead and get some more of those going. Let's see if we can get a good 128 of those to fill that up. With a couple of speed upgrades in here, which we're gonna have to put in each one of them, this is definitely a whole lot faster. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to go ahead and get some redstone and everything going. So we'll come over here. We'll take and make a good bit of these enriched redstone here. And the same thing, we want to make some enriched carbon. So grab one of these out. And then our redstone here, we can take away the redstone block and put in the enriched redstone. We might want to make this a little bit faster, maybe. I think this would be fine. We could probably upgrade this to the next tier and just kind of crush it. So this is where I'm going to explain the regulator upgrade and the crafting upgrade and how cool these things are. So the crafting upgrade just basically says, hey, if I need to craft something that I know the recipe for, I'll do it. So, for instance, I actually have this set up right here with the regulator upgrade and the crafting upgrade. And what this says is that, all right, I have 64 dry ice in here. If we take a look at this now with this regulator upgrade, I don't know why I didn't show it last time. It basically says, hey, I need to keep 64 dry ice in here. I want to make sure that I'm doing this, okay? And if there's not 64 dry ice in here, if you have the crafting upgrade and it knows how to make dry ice, it will automatically make the dry ice and then keep 64 stacked in here to make sure that this stays cooled and we can always make sure that we get some power going. So that's just a rundown of basically how it works. So to implement that same strategy over here, let's say that we want to keep a base amount of enriched redstone in here, but we don't know, the machine knows how to make enriched redstone, but we don't know when it's going to be full and how much it's going to need. You could do the math and everything like that, but let's just say that we want to keep at least 10 enriched redstone going in here. So if we take and we put a regulator upgrade and a crafting upgrade, because you'll need both unless you already have a crafter going. Once the regulator upgrade is in here and we put this in here, you should be able to click and say how much you want to set this to. So if we want to make sure it stays at 64, that there's always 64 enriched redstone in here. If I take a look in here, it'll try and put as much enriched redstone as it can. And if it doesn't have it, it'll actually craft it for you because it knows the recipe. And it'll look over here and say, okay, do we have enough enriched redstone in your storage? If not, let's go ahead and craft it with the redstone since we know the recipe. And it'll automatically make this machine make it some if there's none inside of it, which is pretty dope. So you can use this in a bunch of different ways in a bunch of different applications. But essentially right now, this is just making it where we can keep it in here. So let me show you how this works and give you an example. So we made all of this enriched carbon, right? So if I take it all out of my system here, and when I take this block of coal out and we take this block of coal, let's go ahead and do exactly what I just said. So regulator upgrade and a crafting upgrade. And then we want to put this enriched carbon in here, but we want to say we want 64. So if I put this stack of 64 in here, we see this is already coming in here and making us taking the coal to make us some more enriched carbon to keep it in there. But if I go ahead and shove all this enriched carbon into my inventory space, it'll say, okay, it has it. No need to make some more. Let's just keep it in here. So you can actually set exactly how much you want with that regulator upgrade, but you will need the crafting upgrade if it's something that needs to be crafted like the enriched carbon. The importance of this is because we could just set this to coal. We don't have to set this to carbon, and since we have infinite coal, we don't even have to make it. The enriched diamond, we do have to create. It's either that or diamond dust. So it's important to have this one in here. So now we want to say we want to keep X amount of enriched diamond. Don't shift click like I do. Put this in here and then just click it and then set to 64. And then that way it'll say, okay, let's keep 64 in there at all times. And now we can start using this infusion factory to make some enriched obsidian. So enriched obsidian is just refined obsidian dust in an enrichment chamber. But we have to run obsidian dust into the metallurgic infuser with diamonds. And thankfully, obsidian dust is just easily made with obsidian into an enrichment chamber. So what do? We come over here and we grab that recipe. So come over here, grab this, click this, make the recipe. We come back over here, we throw the obsidian dust in here. Now we're gonna do something really cool. We're going to make 1 enriched obsidian real quick. So if I go obsidian and I click here and I want to make 1 and click start, it'll automatically come over here, it'll enrich it, and then it'll throw it through here, and then we should have our enriched obsidian. Now check this out. I'm not going to make 64 to put it in here. I'm going to do exactly what I said I was going to do, just like I did earlier. Stack these crafting and regulator upgrades in here, and then I'm going to set this to 64. We're going to put this in here, and now it automatically should store the refined obsidian. And it's saying that it needs 64 obsidian here. Apparently we had some crafting queues get hung up. So let's go ahead and craft ourselves another enriched obsidian. And we're missing the refined obsidian dust because it doesn't actually know how to make the refined obsidian dust. That's important. So if we come over here to the refined obsidian dust here, we have to give it this recipe. And we're going to put it into this one right here. So now it should start trying to craft as many as it can to fill this up. So we see over here, it's enriching the obsidian and doing the refined obsidian dust for us, all the way up until this gets filled to 64. So these crafters are relatively slow. It says current speed 5 times, and as we see, some of these are not really that fast. And we can speed them up by replacing the crafters with the upgraded versions. So we'll have to get this to a gold crafter to make it even faster. So let's do that. So with a gold crafter, this should be a whole lot faster. So let's come up here and let's cancel all of this because it's auto crafting everything to keep up with that downstairs, right? So it wants to fill this up until it gets to 64 enriched obsidian. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to set this to, 1 for the time being. So it should fill it up until it gets to 1. And now it's at 1. It should be fine. So the reason why it was taking so long is if we come over here and we look at enriched obsidian here, or if we look at the way this is made, we have a refined obsidian dust. It should be faster if I do it one at a time. See, now it's making a bunch of obsidian all at once, and it should just be faster in general. Now it should send it over to this one to make us and put it all out all at the same time. I just wanted to see how it works just to kind of learn. And now with our refined obsidian, we should be able to make the atomic alloys and the reinforced alloys. So now we can get those recipes going. So if we go up here, we can go ahead and grab these recipes really fast. And while we're up here, we'll go ahead and make the ultimate control circuit recipe, the elite control circuit recipe, and I already have the advanced one. So we want to plug those control circuits into here. Remember, we can make steel now and request it. So I'm going to make sure that I put the steel dust, our exporter, into here so that way it automatically exports my steel dust and smelts it all down. So just to put these remaining recipes in here, we're going to put the infused alloy into reinforced one into the one with the diamonds inside of it. And then we're going to do the same thing here with the atomic alloy into the one with the refined obsidian. So now that we have this full and everything, we should, in theory now, should be able to take a look at the alloys. So these are all the ones that we have right now. We can craft each one of these if we wanted to. So to test to see if this works like a chain, we can click here to craft, and then I'm going to click 64. And now it shows me to craft 64, we only have 2 available, so it needs to craft 62 in reinforced alloys, which then it needs to craft 42 infused alloys, which is just our redstone. So if we click start, we can take a look at the process. It's making everything now. So it's turning all these into infused alloys, which should skip the coal and go all the way over here to reinforced alloys, which should then make the atomic alloys. And there we have it, 64 atomic alloys. These suckers are in the ultimate stage, right? And we want to make more of these because they're annoying. They're really annoying to make. Like, I'm going to need another one of these purifying factories so I can keep up with the crushing factory. Or maybe just double this in general. This is exactly why I wanted to do this. Because it is annoying to have to do this. I even have this already set up. So the thing about MEKANISM is that MEKANISM is all about creating factories, actual factories, which is really cool. Because if you want to automate something like this at this power, you're going to need a ton of oxygen to be able to do it. Which actually leads us to the next part about MEKANISM, which is making the reactors, the fission reactor, and making different kinds of chemicals like our oxygen and hydrogen, putting things together and making just a bunch of different kinds of chemicals like sulfuric acid, or, I mean, MEKANISM actually has, we've got oxygen, we've got ethylene, we've got fissile fuel, we've got hydrogen chloride, lithium, sulfur dioxide, steam, sulfur trioxide, sulfuric acid, superheated sodium, uranium hexafluoride. So basically, I know what you're thinking. Maybe this is going to be a little bit too much. Trust me, I understand. It sounds complicated, and it is complicated. It's actually very difficult. It does take a lot. I'm actually working on trying to figure out how to do the fissile reactor or fission reactor properly. What we're going to do is we're going to have some little factory spaces set up just for stuff like this, where we can actually pump this in here and get ourselves a ton of oxygen and have a whole room filled with these things. And we'll get started with pretty much making all of these little factories and stuff, like these oxygen factories and stuff, in the next episode. And that'll do it for us today on this episode of Mod 7. This episode wasn't actually meant to be a whole lot of crazy new things, but pretty much just taking the knowledge that we've learned from autocrafting and applying it to these, so that way we can make our life a little bit easier whenever we make new things. Now we're able to convert all of our materials like iron, osmium, and all that good stuff into automated pieces for MEKANISM. This will get us set up to get into MEKANISM reactors and all the good stuff. But next episode, we're actually going to start working on factorizing some of those chemicals and things that we're going to need for that reactor. I wanted to get a little bit of experience autocrafting and stuff with refined storage, which I am really actually enjoying. Be honest with me, are you an AE2 fan or are you a refined storage fan? You tell me which one you are. Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!